When you were 9 years old, you knew exactly how to tell if your mom or dad was in a bad mood before they even opened the door. The sound of their keys, how many seconds between the car door and the front door, whether they were humming, singing, or silent. You didn't know that was trauma. You thought it was love. That's what I want to talk about today. If you grew up being called mature for your age, if you were the peacekeeper, the problem solver, the one who held everybody else together, if you learned to read the room before you learned to read a book, this video is going to rearrange something in you. Because here's what nobody told you. That wasn't maturity. That was a survival response. And the thing that you thought was your superpower is the exact thing that has you exhausted, resentful, and wondering why you still cannot rest. Before we get into that, I'm Roneshia, and if nobody has checked on you today, that's exactly why I'm here. I'm a trauma healing coach and deliverance minister, and I bridge nervous system science with faith-based healing. I'm going to tell you some things today that your therapist may not have gotten to yet. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why you feel responsible for everybody else's emotions, why you cannot receive help without guilt, and what it's going to actually take to put the weight down. Y'all ready?
Tired of just surviving, ready to heal. Gotta take some action, do more than kneel. I kept blaming hell.
So let's start with the term parentification. It sounds all clinically, but a lot of us grew up with this. Parentification is what happens when a child is placed in the emotional role of caretaker for a parent or the whole family. And there are two types. The first one is instrumental parentification. This is when you are the one cooking, cleaning, raising your siblings, managing money, just doing adult things as a child. Some of y'all were paying bills at 13. You know exactly who you are. The second, and this is the one that people just don't talk about enough, is emotional parentification. That's when you become your parents' therapist, their confidant, their emotional support animal. I said what I said, and I've seen both, especially working in child protective services. You were the one who sat with them after the divorce. You were the one who listened to them cry about money. You were the one who made sure everybody was okay so the house didn't fall apart. And here's the thing, nobody ever told you that wasn't your job. You just took it because something in you knew if you didn't, things would get worse. That's not maturity. That is a nervous system that has learned my safety is dependent upon everybody else being okay first. And here's the layer that's unique for Black women. There's something called adultification bias, where Black children, especially Black girls, were perceived as being more mature, more capable, less in need of protection than their white peers. So not only were you doing too much at home, but the outside world was refusing to see you as a child who needed care. You were never allowed to be little, and you have been carrying that ever since. Now, I want to make a connection that might be the most important thing in this video. Parentification is a direct pathway to enmeshment. I'm not sure how much I've talked about enmeshment on my public platforms. I know I'm almost 1,000% certain that I addressed this when I taught the Surviving Toxic Mothers series. If you're interested in that, leave a comment and I can send you the link. Enmeshment is basically when the boundaries between you and another person are so dissolved, you don't know where they end or begin. Their mood is your mood. Their problem is your problem. Their lack of peace is your lack of peace. Their chaos is your emergency. Here's what happens when you are a child and your safety is dependent upon you managing your parents' emotional state. Your nervous system gets wired to monitor others before yourself. You become ADT, a human surveillance system, always scanning, always reading the room, always braced. Your brain then makes this rule, and the rule is I'm only safe when everyone else around me is calm. That rule made complete sense when you were 9 years old. It kept you safe, but you are not 9 anymore, and that same rule has been running your life, running and ruining your adult's life. And this is why you feel responsible for your coworker's mood. This is why you can't have conflict without your heart racing. It's why someone else's bad day becomes your fault. Your nervous system isn't broken. It is doing exactly what it was trained to do. The issue is it never got the memo that the danger has passed. Before someone gets in my comment section talking about, I had it harder than you. You don't know what I've been through. Let me make something really clear. This doesn't require an abusive parent. Your parent could have had depression. They could have been working 3 jobs. They could have had their own unhealed wounds that they never chose to pass down, but did anyway. The reason doesn't change the impact on your body. The path to healing is the same. Real quick, before I keep going, I want you to drop something in the comments. Tell me, what adult responsibility did you carry as a child? I'm almost positive that there is nothing you can say that would shock me at this point. I don't care if it was emotional, being your parents' confidant, keeping the peace, or something more practical like raising your siblings and managing the money. Drop it in the comments below, not just for me, but for the woman that's going to scroll past this video and finally see, wait a minute, I'm not the only one. Let's get back to it. I need you to see yourself in this list. I don't need you to over spiritualize it and jump to, well, God is still working on me before you acknowledge what you're actually carrying. You pick partners that need fixing. Y'all know that cute little shop called Build-A-Bear? Y'all the cute little teddy bears. Some of y'all do that with men. Or you try to. Anyway, build a man. You love it. You are always the caretaker in your relationships, your friend groups, even on your job. You find it genuinely hard to ask for help. And then when someone does help you, you feel like you are a burden. You are exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You cancel your own needs so naturally that it doesn't even feel like a sacrifice anymore. You say yes when you really mean no, and then you turn around and resent the yes later. You are successful. You go to brunch. You take vacations. You look real good on social media. You have the luxury apartments, the career, the faith, and you still feel like something is wrong with you that you cannot name. That thing you can't name is grief. It's the grief of a childhood where nobody checked on you, where you were needed before you were known, where love came with conditions and your job was to meet them. And here's what I really need you to hear, especially if you're sitting in the church. Your resentment is not sin. It is information. It is your soul telling you that something was taken from you. The anger isn't the problem. The anger is the alarm. And your empathy, oh my goodness, the gift that you have to read people, to know what they need before they even say it, that's real. That's God-given. But it was never supposed to be a survival mechanism. It is a gift, not an obligation. And healing is going to teach you the difference. So let's talk about what healing really looks like. First, grief before gratitude. You cannot heal what you refuse to name. I'm not asking you to villainize your parents. I am asking you to stop minimizing what happened to you. My childhood was fine. My parents did the best they could. Those 2 sentences have kept more women stuck than anything I know. Your parents may have done their best, and their best still harmed you. Both things can be true at the same time. Okay, second, your body has to catch up with what your mind already knows. You can understand your trauma cognitively and still flinch when someone raises their voice. You can know you're safe and still over-explain, over-function, and over-give. It doesn't mean you're weak. That is your nervous system. It doesn't respond to information. It responds to experiences. You need new experiences of safety. That's what reparenting is. Third, practice receiving. Not thinking about receiving, not journaling about receiving, actually letting someone do something for you and sitting in that discomfort. Sit in it until your nervous system learns that being cared for is safe. And fourth, and I'm going to say this as someone who was in full-time deliverance ministry before I started coaching, this is not just a faith problem. What the church told you to pray through is also a nervous system wound. You need prayer and healing. You need Holy Spirit and the somatic work. God made your body. He is not offended by you doing the work to heal it. Y'all gotta wake up. If this video hits something real in you, recognition is not an accident, Bookie. That is the beginning of something. I'm always using nicknames. As a woman who survived a toxic mother, church abuse, rejection, and a laundry list of other things, I built something for the woman who is ready to start, but she doesn't know where. It's called the Clarity Reset. It's a 7-day workbook and audio experience. It's going to walk you through the exact nervous system and inner healing foundations that will make the deeper work possible. Not theory, not fluff, the actual starting point. The link is in the description. And if you're watching this and you know you need more one-on-one support, you can apply for my Bloom coaching services. That link is in the description as well. You did not make it this far, survived everything that you've been through to get stuck at the door of healing. You can put the job down. The childhood may be gone, but your life isn't, and it is not too late for you to heal. I'll see you in the next video.
I kept blaming heaven for what still bled in me, but the bruises had a name and they came from deep, so I let it